need to discuss, are we going to like not look at the cameras ever? Because like Joe Rogan never looks at the camera, but then some of them also do look at the camera. So
I'd say not.
don't look at the camera. So just look at just look at each other. Get a nosebleed right before I start.
All right, well, episode 1 of the ModCast, so it's official because we're calling it the ModCast.
That's right.
And this podcast will be about hunting and fishing, business, probably a few other things, some fitness. And I'm pretty excited to launch it. It's something I wanted to do for a long time, something that's hard to do consistently.
Absolutely.
But I think it'll give us a good opportunity to share some very helpful things for some young guys that are looking to get into this industry. Maybe some guys looking to get deeper into shooting bows and be more knowledgeable from your side. So what I expect you to be on this is hunting side, heavy into archery, some fitness tied into that, maybe eating. We'll see what the people like, but I plan on talking a lot about business and just, starting this business, Modern Outdoor Media, starting the tackle shop, my time management, undercover sportsman, handling a budget, all kinds of stuff.
All the goodies.
All the goodies. So it's our first one. We'll probably look back on this one day and hear my chair squeaking or laugh at ourselves. And I hope, but I think that's topic number 1 for me, is the best way to do something is just to get started.
That's right.
Too many people try to plan and perfect, and it's paralysis by analysis.
And then they end up not putting anything out because they get so caught up on what they need perfect, and then not posting is huge, and not doing it at all, not getting anything on camera. So that's big.
It is. You get started, and it gives you the ability to, number 1, find out what people didn't like, find out what they do like. Another thing is to find out what's working and what's not. Right. You may run into audio problems. You may realize lighting's not perfect. You may realize we have to do it in a different room, and you just don't know.
Right. Until you try, though.
Until you get started.
That's right.
And I got no problem talking. I mean, I could talk all day.
We talked for 18 hours there and back.
Yeah, we just got back from a trip from Orlando. We drove straight through with no intention on doing so. But man, it was like when Noel hit that bridge coming through Memphis, I mean, we weren't slowing down. And
we didn't even listen to music the whole way. We talked pretty much the whole way there and back.
Yep. We went through a little stint of music and then talked, and then we got into some deeper talk, and it was fun.
It was a good show, though. Good trip.
It was. So we're talking about ICAST 2021. I've been to ICAST twice now, and in 2015 was my last time being there. It was a lot busier. It was not near as busy this time around. It was your first ICAST.
Yeah, and I definitely, growing up, always wanted to go to ICAST, and I definitely was surprised at the lack of people that were there, which I know with the things going on in the world right now, that's probably why. It was the first big event, really, ever since everything's kind of starting to open back up. But
yeah. What was your experience being your first ICAST?
It was awesome. Getting to see some big-name people that, you only ever saw on TV, that was honestly a dream come true, but from the sales side of things, being able to go out and actually interact with these different companies, I think was a benefit to the not being as busy. I think had it been full capacity, it would have been so much harder to get those one-on-one talks, but yeah, I got to make some really good conversation. So that was a benefit to it, but it was a good trip.
I think that's the draw of the ICAST. From people looking the outside in, is you've got those big name people there. So you'll see your buddy who's at ICAST take a picture with Clay Guida or Jacob Wheeler or Bill Jordan.
Yeah, Jordan, yeah.
So that's a funny story. So Jordan is what I would have said.
Yeah.
But our mutual acquaintance, Scott Turnage, said, well, he liked to be called Jordan there for a while. And you actually called him Jordan because you knew.
Yeah. I grew up watching his shows, and that was actually how I started the conversation with him. Is he was off talking to somebody else when we walked up, and I'm starstruck, and I'm nudging the guys like, oh my gosh, And I had a photo of me when I was a little baby, and he was holding me at Bass Pro way back in the day. And when I showed it to his guy at the booth there, he's like, you got to show Bill. So that was kind of my lead into the conversation, and we ended up talking about how much different things are in the hunting industry now. And he was talking with Noel about how the cameras back then used to be 80 pounds and they cost 80 grand, and now we got phones in our pocket that are better than what they had back then. And it was really cool to interact with him and just hear how the industry's changed in a short amount of time.
So, this first podcast, I think we'll just kind of cover, I'd love to go into ICAST and the details, but I think we need to just give people an idea of what we're going to be talking about not just what we're going to be talking about, how we want it, what we want it to be. And I think, initially, at least the thought is we're going to try to keep them shorter, because you can listen. I listen to some podcasts for an hour or more. And I think there's going to be times where we'll have to go over 30 minutes. But I think if we can try to limit it to 30, 40 minutes would be really cool.
Yep.
So that you guys can, get the substance. We'll try to trim the fat. A lot of guys lead into these things with the same kind of like approach. They're joking and they talk a lot about the sponsors in the beginning, which we'll do. But I think there's ways to make these things shorter.
Yeah.
And efficient. Because what I want this podcast to do is give people insight and information that will help them in the outdoor industry. Nobody's doing that yet. A lot of people are talking about their experiences, but this one specifically will talk about, like, should you build a website? Should you have a brand for yourself, a personal brand? Should you have a brand for your business? Where do you start? Do you start with a brand or a website?
Right.
Start with a logo? Do you do apparel? Do you do photography, videography if you have a product? There's so much stuff we can talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's how I want it to be different. I want to give them an insight into our company and what we do, and also give away a lot of valuable information that people pay us to consult on a lot of times in their business.
Well, I think something too, when you kind of hit on with the, make your own personal brand and website and such, whether it be hunting, fishing, there's several different avenues you can go, but a lot of us with that humble mentality, you're scared to do that because it might, rub people the wrong way, but at the end of the day, if you're not putting yourself out there, then you're cutting yourself short.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we can hit on, and it's the people that are willing to put themselves out there, and you're going to get criticism for it, but you're marketing yourself. And that's so important, and I think that we need to talk about that and maybe give some confidence to those guys that need that, and help them push themselves out there, because you're not going to grow in an uncomfortable situation, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So many kids, it's just unfortunate that they'll get grief for starting a fitness page or starting an archery page, and their friends are maybe jealous or whatever, and they give them grief. And ultimately they are their friends. All our friends give us grief, and even if they really are our friends. But over time, next thing you know, you'll be getting DMs from those same friends, asking you questions, supporting the channel. And so you got to fake it till you make it, and progress is motivation. Those are two things that go hand in hand. So get started, like we talked about earlier. Build the perception behind what you're doing maybe is larger than you are, and don't be afraid to do that. Just because you're like, well, I'm just a little, I like to shoot archery and I really don't have a brand. Well, you don't have a brand unless you make a brand. You make a brand, next thing you know, a couple guys might want to join it. Next thing you know, you might have something going on here.
Right.
One of those guys in that group might shoot a 180-inch whitetail this year, and next thing you know, it's viral.
Yep.
If you didn't have that platform set up to begin with, then you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity.
Absolutely.
And we'll go into details on stuff like that. A little bit more on our company. So Modern Outdoor Media is our digital marketing company. Brett here does sales and marketing, and really is going to wear a lot of hats, and just started with us, and we're glad to have him. Noel is our content creator, photographer, videographer, all kinds of things. Social media manager. We manage Bridgeford Outdoors, which is Bridgeford beef jerky. You see it in Walmart. The Sweet Baby Ray's jerky. Mega Bass. Yeah, it is good stuff. We actually just got a fresh shipment in. No, you got a bag somewhere? We got a fresh shipment of jerky and pepperoni sticks and all kinds of stuff. So I think he threw the little snack bites to us right here.
Snack bites.
But they got turkey pepperoni. The jerky's high in protein. I mean, obviously all jerky's gonna have high sodium, but it's a great snack for your backpack if you're hunting.
Absolutely.
It's a great snack for the boat. You're gonna hear us talk a lot about Bridgeford because it's a great company. We also manage Onyx Outdoors life jackets, their social media page. We built Megabass's website. We maintain Megabass's website, Megabass Tackle, Japanese company that makes amazing baits.
Good stuff.
Quality. I mean, the amount of detail. The devil's in the detail is what their CEO Yusuke always says, and man, he means it. And you can tell when you look at their baits. Angler-Aid, which is what I went to ICAST for. I'm partners in Angler-Aid. It's an exciting new product. Brandon Polinick is a partner in that company as well. And it just got into Bass Pro, just started taking off, really. We just got our new box a couple months ago. Who am I missing here? Who am I missing, Noel? Can you think of somebody? Anyway, we do one-off stuff too. So, You get people that'll reach out just for a website only. Like we're doing a website for a pawn shop right now. We're doing a website for Eagle Outdoors up in Willard, tackle shop, gun shop. We get lots of requests for logos from individuals all the way up to Monster Buck Seed Company. We get photography jobs, videography jobs. So anything you guys would do to market yourselves digitally, we do it.
Yep.
And what's you just started. So, your perception of the company and you being able to work doing what you love now, tell me a little bit about, some of the emotions and thought that goes into that.
It's crazy, man. A lot of the people I've talked to, whenever I talk about what Modern Outdoor Media does, is it's all things outdoors, from a marketing perspective. And I think not only is it cool to be able to do this because it's a dream job for me, this is what I wanted to do, but it's just cool to see how, versatile the whole market is, really, fishing, hunting, and all of it, and how well they interact with each other. Because just coming back from ICAST, although my emphasis is more on the hunting side, it was cool to see the different brands that are now starting to go to a trade show like ICAST, and then that it all kind of carries over. So the two industries are so they're so relatable to each other, and being able to see that with this position and this job is really cool, and be able to help them. They might be able to transfer from real tree fishing to real tree hunting, or mossy oak fishing to mossy oak hunting, and it's cool to just see how important marketing is and how important media is. And it's not just we're an outdoor media company. We actually speak the language, and that's my favorite part about it is we don't get seen as just some marketing company. We're outdoorsmen ourselves, and that's awesome to be able to emphasize that.
Yeah, we speak the language. That is one thing that's made this company grow so fast, is these people are used to hiring a general market web designer, a guy that doesn't hunt, doesn't fish, and you're trying to explain to that person maybe what a white-tailed buck is compared to a mule deer. And it's just added time and frustration that you will run into, or may run into, working with somebody in the general market. So if you're working with outdoorsmen, things tend to go a lot smoother. So really that was what I built this company off. And that's a niche. And you'll hear me talk about niches a lot. Like, find that niche and own that. Like, don't try to own something too big. I'd rather get into something like this. Instead of me trying to start a general market company, there's a lot of money in the general market, but I wanted to get in, and not only that, I wanted to do it in something I loved.
Right.
If I'm building a website for a tackle company and I'm looking at topwater baits and spinner baits, instead of looking at, maybe I do it for a hardware company that sells, jacks or screwdrivers, or I'm not going to be enjoying my work near as much as I am, looking at these baits. And that's everything, man. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, I don't know what you're doing.
No, I agree.
And I know it's like, oh, it's easy to say, that's luxury. Like, I've got kids and I've got bills to pay. Well, in my opinion, get rid of the bills, no matter what you got to do. You want your family to be comfortable, of course. Don't get me wrong, I've got 2 kids, but do everything you possibly can to put yourself in a position to succeed. So if that starts with money, and you're not going to make much doing what you love to start out, find a way to do that. Do it in your spare time. Stay up, get 5 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep. Who cares? Do it if you want it. Because I promise you, if you do something you're passionate about, you're going to be a lot more successful. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to do what you love for a job. I know my good buddy Brady does landscaping for a living, but he loves it. It's not his passion. His passion's hunting and fishing and football and all that. But he loves what he does. He really does, and he means it. And I know he means it because I see how much he puts into it every day. And he loves being outside. That's really what he loves, is that he's be able to be outside, listen to music, and do his thing. So it doesn't mean you have to work in hunting or fishing to do what you love. Don't get me wrong. But the good thing is there's plenty of opportunity to work in this industry doing what you love. 2021, I mean, man, anything is possible.
Literally. We made it through one of the craziest years ever. So now at this point, it's kind of like everything's on the table. You got an opportunity wherever you want it. So. And
our industry's been booming since the pandemic. We've been growing.
Incredible.
Yeah, people are wanting to get outside. They want the fresh air. They want to learn to hunt. They want to learn to fish. I used to fish during the week and nobody'd be out there, and now there's a lot of people out there in the weekdays.
And that means new people coming into the industry too. So that's where something like this could be helpful too, is for the people that might not be as familiar with what they're doing, but they want to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that we can offer some some help in that aspect too, is, you know, emphasizing the importance of certain things. You know, for me, I harp on a lot of, you know, ethical stuff with bow hunting, and I think, you know, in the bow hunting industry, it's gotten huge in the last year, but hunting, fishing in general has boomed, and just emphasizing those important things is going to be something that we can do along the way.
Yep. Well, I think this is a good intro to the podcast. It gives you a pretty good overview of what we hope to be talking about. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we'll waver from that with special guests and stuff throughout the time, but there's a lot of people I'd like to have on this podcast, and I think there's some creative ways we can invite them. Yeah. You know, you can Zoom call them in on this TV. We've got a program that actually splices in their video from a Zoom call. So, guys, if you want to be on this podcast, you know, make sure you reach out. It's a new podcast, so the following is very minimal, if none right now.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah, drop comments for us. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you didn't like to hear, whatever it may be. We want all criticism. Hopefully there's a few compliments in there so we can build off of those as well.
The mean stuff, just save it for Noel.
Yeah, exactly. We'll just blame Noel anyway. And we'll have Noel on here too. We'll get him from behind the camera. And so anyway.
He's shaking his head at us now.
Thanks for watching, guys. This will be posted to our YouTube channel, Modern Outdoor Media, and we're also going to look into how we can post the audio to iTunes and Spotify, like you guys are used to listening to your other podcasts on. So, if you like looking at us, catch us on YouTube. If not, catch us on the audio side.
That's right, and let us know. Like he said, you know, tell us any topics that you know you want to hear, because I put a story up on my Instagram the other day and got some really good opinions on what we should talk about, so that's a good start. So just keep it up and let us know what we can talk about.
Yep.
We'll get on it.
Yep. I think as far as consistency, we're going to see how it goes at least once a week, at least, if not once a day. But once a day is probably going to be a stretch. So you've got once a week or maybe 5 times a week.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to learn. That's why we're getting started. And so appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. Boom.